What's up, guys? How's it going? Long time no see. Obviously, I uh, I don't really post that much, but once a week or about once a week is good enough for now. It's not like YouTube is like my focus. I don't I don't want to be a YouTuber. I'm never gonna want to be a YouTuber. I'm never gonna care how many people watch my videos. It could just be for family and friends that got 5 minutes every 6 months. But I'm gonna make my video anyways and kind of give you an update on what I've been doing. Because honestly, I learn a lot about myself. Being on the road all the time in that van gives you a lot of time to think and kind of just come to. It's like you come to a realization every day because 12 or 13, 14 hours of staring at a straight line, and it gives you a lot of time to really, really think and theorize and plan. And it's almost like you know kind of helps your foresight to an extent because I mean you just have so much time to just think and think and think and think and think about whatever you got going on. I got a lot going on in my life in general, whether it's between, hey, family, friends, relationship, finance, all that stuff, real estate, all of it combined leads me to having my mind's full of thoughts. I got a lot going on. And a lot of, before when I was working my regular job, I really didn't have time to think because I was always doing something. Um, but I have a lot of time to think, and I think that with all that being said, I think that I'm calling it quits on the cargo van thing. I don't want to go too deep into it, but sometimes you get an idea, it may or may not work. And, hey, this idea just didn't work for me. Probably cost me almost $20,000. It's like burning up fire, money on fire. But I do have enough confidence in myself that I can recover. I think people have done dumber things. I think if you're serious about trying to make it in life, sometimes you're going to have to take risks. And most people probably live their whole life and never take one single big risk. So I feel like this was, probably the second big risk I've taken in my life. One has worked out, one hasn't, and I don't know if moving cities is a big risk, but hey, I moved out of my area, hey, moved out of my comfort zone in Tennessee, moved to a new state, didn't really know anything about the city, didn't know what the jobs were like, didn't matter, moving to Indiana for me in my mind was a big risk because, I ripped myself out of where I was comfortable and doing good, and I jumped into an environment that was foreign and, immediately figured out a way to thrive. So maybe not a huge risk, but, a lot of people are not willing to get up and move and just, no thoughts involved. Just, hey, I'm just going to get out of here and try something new. This one cost me a little more money and was a little more painful, but I did get into something that I didn't know anything about. So, with all that being said, I can't really be that upset. It probably could get better if I stayed into it, but there's a lot of things going on with it to where I realize not only is it not for me to be on the road 24/7, I I just don't know anything about it. I think I would be better off in the long run calling it quits before I sink myself into a bigger hole. So that's kind of my final thought on that. I did want to go over the portfolio a little bit. Hey, net asset value looking pretty decent. 29K. I've changed my investment strategy multiple times, and because of this whole business failure, I'm gonna have to change it again. I don't want to get too deep into what I'm going to change about it because it's really not that complicated. Hey, I'm probably going to pull out about 60% of my, income. By income, I mean trades. Hey, I didn't have that great of a week, but, you pull out 60% of that. That's a pretty good paycheck. Uh, I'm going to pull out, some of that to cash, 60% on the dot, actually, not about 60, but 60% on the dot. I'm going to pull out for cash. And that'll be about 900 bucks. I'm going to invest 25% of it. Any trades I make at the end of the week or whenever the cash is available, I will reinvest some cash into, some more quality stocks. I'm going to leave the high yield stuff alone, buy a little bit more quality stocks. I'm going to leave 12% of it available to continue to trade. And then I'm going to put 3% into a cash equivalent. You see these trades here? It's not looking too bad. 1 month, hey, that could be my job hypothetically if I want it to be. I don't want trading to be my job because trading's annoying and stressful. But I'm gonna have to use my gains to pay some bills and to continue forward with different. I got different business plans going on. I'm never just stuck on one thing. I got a lot going on when it comes to finance and my future. I got a lot of things going on besides a cargo van and a brokerage account. it's hard to talk about all of it in these short videos, but I'm probably going to have to make a video about what my big plan is and what I have going on, where I see the majority of my wealth coming from. That'll be a whole different video. But when it comes to my account on here, I am kind of pivoting into trading. I'm going to continue to reinvest. But I still, no matter what, I'm obsessed with dividends. I'm going to keep my dividends rolling in. I'm going to continue to reinvest them to get more. I will be keeping the dividends, like I said, and dripping those. But the great thing about margin and trading is this 93 cents or this 48 cents or this 32 cents, not going to change my life. But on margin, that'll just increase my trading power. I can use the profits from my dividends to lock in that 32 cents of Costco. That's locked in. I'm holding those forever. I'm kind of a buy, never sell investor when it comes to quality stocks. That's how I want to be. But that these peanuts on the side are added to the trading pool. Hey, if I go trade $1, hey, this is over $1 dividends. On my next trade, it could be $10,001 instead of 10,000. If I swing trade for 1% or 1.5%, it's only 1 penny. But hey, that dividend just earned me a penny on my next trade. And as hilarious as that sounds, you keep doing that. I've gained some serious momentum when it comes to trading. So that's what I got going on lately. Um, $70,000 of trading, buying power, 29,000 of my, net asset here. And I think the stock pick of the week for me is I'm going to be loading up on Google big time. I think anybody that's an experienced investor already knows that Google and Microsoft are kind of screaming buys right now. But that'll just be, that's up for people. Everybody's going to spend their money how they want to spend their money. I just think that's, it's a great buy right now. I've got some Walmart, got some Google, got some Microsoft, but I think Google's what I'm going to be spending, that $1,500 I showed you that I made this week, 25% of that, most of that will be going into Google. I've got a buddy, long distance buddy, his name's Sammy. Um, he messaged me the other day. He's just, man, he's just a smart person. I'm assuming he's probably going to make an account eventually. His mom is friends with my mom, Erica. And, you know, I think anybody young needs to hop on it quick. This is kind of a game for young people to get into. Yeah, old people can succeed in it, but time is on his and anybody else young's hand. He's about the age of my younger brother. If I would have known about this when I was 7 or 8 years younger, I wouldn't have to trade with such urgency. I could trade at a much slower pace and just buy index funds and chill and continue on with life. And I feel like now that I've wasted so many years not knowing what I was doing, I kind of feel like I have to hit the fast forward button if I want to get to my goals, as fast as I want to get to them. I don't feel like sitting around and waiting forever for the compounding. So I hope he gets his account going soon. I'm probably gonna have to text him in a week or two to just see where he's at, because he's busy with life. He's got a lot going on. He likes to be at the gym, so he's got his life going on. But there's no amount of money that's too small to get started. So I think that's all I got for the video. Like I said, all the other stuff I got going on, I don't want to just go on and on and on about non-investing stuff in a video that's supposed to be about the account. I don't have any complex details to add to this video because it's pretty cut and dry. Hey, I can show you some of my trades. That's about it. The type of trades that I do make. That's probably something that, might be interesting to somebody to see what kind of moves I'm making. My strategy is to be real safe and to jump in and out and take what I can take when I can get it. Hey, last couple of days, not too great. I actually sold that McDonald's for a loss because I seen a screaming buy opportunity. I seen Bloom Energy was up or was down big time, and McDonald's was kind of stagnant. So I sold, I sold those 40 shares and moved away. But you see these trades, Figma, Equifax. That Equifax really saved me the other day. Intuit, Cerebras, Bloom Energy, Bloom Energy, Bloom Energy, Bloom Energy. I haven't made a ton of trades this week, but as you can see down there, they were all pretty profitable moves. If you go to the profit and loss, let's just say max. I used to swing some pretty big deals. I'm not really into the big trades anymore because it's a little more risky. And like you see on there, hey, that's a $70,000 credit at close there. So I'm not really making big moves like that because I don't have the money like that anymore. But you see the power there as you're you see the power as the account gets bigger of how, say $80,000. That's just insane gains. Eventually, I will get back to those numbers to be able to make those trades. But for now, let's just focus on this number here, getting this number bigger. That's really all we should care about, for our futures. So you guys have a good one. I'm gonna go hang out with my girlfriend. Probably call my dad or something. But I'm probably gonna have my thoughts a little more well thought out for this next video. I've been busy, running that business I started into the ground. And I'll see you guys.